All right, so today we are going to start finally the load development for PRS. This is how I do it, and today I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, we're going to start with brand new brass. Okay, that's where everybody should start. Every time you start load development, hopefully you can start with brand new brass. Okay. If you already shot out a barrel and maybe your brass is still good and you just happen to have a gunsmith that can duplicate your headspace and is using your exact same reamer, you can reuse the brass. Otherwise, new barrel, new brass. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do today. So I got 100 pieces of brass right here. I'm gonna open it right now. This is Lapua brass. This is 6.5 by 47 Lapua. Look how shiny it is. Pretty. But anyway, this is what we're going to be using. I'm actually shooting a 6 by 47 Lapua, so we have to neck this brass down. That's the only brass prep I'm going to do. I don't do anything else. This is Lapua brass. I don't weight sort. I don't volume sort. I don't deburr the flash holes. I don't ream. I don't do anything. Literally anything. Okay. If this was, let's just say we're doing a 6BR. Forget 6BR. Let's say we're doing a 6.5 by 47 Lapua, right? We're using the exact same piece of brass. They tend to run pretty tight, the necks. Okay. So I would run this brass through an expander mandrel. Okay. This is obviously would be 6.5, so you would use like a maybe like a 263 expander mandrel, just to open the necks up a little bit so it's not so tight. Okay, that's all I would do. Because this is a 6 by 47 Lapua, I'm gonna run it through my press, and I'm gonna do nothing different. I'm gonna run the exact same setup as if this was once fire brass. Okay. The first die is gonna squeeze the neck down, and it should not touch the body at all because it's set up for my shoulder bump for my chamber. Okay, which coincidentally it's only about 1 or 2 thousandths difference to this brass. But anyway, this is what I'm gonna do, and then from there it's gonna get a primer. It's gonna get powder. On the powder charge, I'm going to use the same load that I used on my last barrel. Okay, this is how I like to start a new barrel. Now, if this is a brand new gun to you, brand new everything, how do you select powder charge? Or powder. Let's forget the powder charge. Let's start with the powder. Okay, the first thing you should do is find what powder others are using. Okay, that's going to give you a very good starting point. And I say use the powder that everybody else is using is because if everybody's having success with it, then you should be able to have success with it. Okay, if you don't, then either you need to work on your reloading skills or something is wrong with your rifle. Okay, that's just a way that you can weed out problems. Now, once you use a powder that everybody else is using, a bullet that everybody else is using that's shooting really well in their rifles, now once you get it working in your rifle, then you can experiment with other powders if you want. Okay, but you need a baseline. Okay, because if you opt to use a powder that nobody else is using, okay, and you can't get it to shoot in your rifle, you can't guarantee that it's the powder. It may just be the rifle. It may be the barrel. It may be something else that you don't know about. But, you know, your assumption is that it's the powder. So be very careful with that. So having said that, I'm using Vitavori N150. It is very close to Varget. Okay. Again, this is a 6 by 47 Lapua. My last 2 barrels of 6 by 47 Lapua have used 36 grains of N150. So that's what I'm going to load today. I'm actually going to load, again, this is brand new brass, so I'm going to load probably 35 and a half. I just want to be a little bit on the light side. I don't want to hammer this brass too much. So I'm gonna go with 35.5. Okay, that's the load that I'm gonna shoot. I'm gonna load up 100 rounds, and I'm gonna go and shoot that load because I want to get this brass fire formed to my chamber, and of course I'm gonna be necking it down. So the first 100 rounds, even if you have a brand new barrel, load up those 100 rounds. That's gonna get you through one box of brass. It's gonna allow you to fire form that brass. It's gonna allow you to get some practice, maybe sight in your rifle, and just put 100 rounds through it. Go practice, okay? If it doesn't shoot very well, adjust your seating depth, okay? And just get it to shoot as good as it can, at least for now, okay? We're just trying to burn up 100 rounds, practice or whatever, okay? The barrel's likely going to speed up, so that's what I'm saying. Don't spend too much time trying to work up a load with the first 100 rounds, because more than likely the load that you end up with is not going to be the load that is going to be your final load. Okay, so you guys already know how I feel about barrel break-in. I don't break in barrels. I load up 100 rounds. You know, I clean the barrel just to make sure there's nothing in there, oil or anything in the barrel. I clean it out. You know, just run a few wet patches and dry it out. Make sure you dry out your chamber. Make sure your chamber's super dry, okay? Grease your lugs on your bolt, you know, just maintenance stuff. And go shoot. Go shoot your 100 rounds. When you get back to your reloading room, clean that barrel really good. You may want to think about running some patches down with, you know, just stroke it a few times with like Ioso or JB bore paste. Get that barrel really clean. Carbon is going to be your biggest enemy always. So go ahead and attack that carbon first. I will do a video later on cleaning a barrel, but I like to attack carbon first. Get that carbon out of there, and then copper. Once you're done with the copper, go back to carbon. Okay, it layers in your barrel. If you don't have a bore scope, you know, you're just gonna have to trust me on this. But if you have a bore scope, get that carbon out and look in there, okay? And then you're gonna see just like a gold mine. There's gonna be so much copper in there, okay? Then get that copper out of there, and just when it looks like it's clean, get that carbon out again, and then look in there again. You'll see more copper. So get it really clean. You can use a brush if you want. I don't use brushes, but if you want, feel free. It ain't gonna hurt anything. So anyway, after your first 100 rounds, clean your barrel really good. Use Ioso, JB bore paste, whatever you need. A big sign that you have carbon in your barrel is if you're cleaning your barrel and then you kind of get like a what I call a gravel road feel. You know, like your hand as you push, instead of pushing straight through smoothly, it kind of chatters. If it does that, you have carbon in there. Anyway, let me get going with this brass. I don't even have to lube it, but I'm gonna do the first one. I just don't want to get stuck in here. As for primers, I'm gonna use whatever I have the most of. And I don't know what that is right now. I'm gonna check, but right now I'm not working up a load. Like I said, I'm just gonna fire form the brass, go out and shoot, and make sure that whatever I have, you know, get some practice, whatever, sight in your rifle, whatever you need. But that's what you're gonna do with the first 100 rounds. Okay, if you have, for example, if I had a match, I could actually load up maybe the last load from the last barrel, even on new brass, and go, you know, adjust. I have a tuner, so I would adjust the tuner and just get it shooting pretty well, and I could go maybe do a club match or something, you know, 100 rounds. Don't waste barrel life if you don't have to, okay? Practice, I mean, we can always use more practice, right? But anyway, I better get to work. Like I said, I'm gonna do 100 of these. I'm gonna load up some primers. The two primers that I'm gonna try, and I'll get to that here shortly. The two primers that I'm gonna try are 205 and BR4s. Those are the two that I'm gonna try. In this rifle, the powder is gonna be a bit of Ori N150, and the bullet is gonna be Burger 109. You know, I got 500. Well, I got a few thousand, but I got a box of 500 here, so that's what we're gonna be using. Okay, 6x47 Lapua, 109 burgers, 6.5x47 Lapua brass that I'm gonna neck down, Vitovori N150, and either we're gonna use BR4s or 205 primers. Right now, I think I'm just gonna use some 205s just to get all these fired. And of course, our seating depth is gonna be jam minus 20. You guys already saw that video where I checked it, so I think it was like 2 point something 40. I know the last number was 40. I'm gonna have to go through my notes, but I will link the video right here if you haven't seen it. Okay, let me get to work. All right, so I ended up loading BR4s just because they happen to be closest to my desk. Sometimes you just go for whatever's easiest. Okay, again, this is just to get the brass fire formed. All right, so I got them loaded in here, and I'm gonna be throwing powder with a Chargemaster 1500. As I said, I'm gonna be using BR4s, 109 burgers, and Vitovori N150. I'm probably gonna repeat myself a lot, so beware of that. So again, this is just the Chargemaster 1500. Been around for a very long time. It's a good powder thrower. Somebody asked me today, as a matter of fact, which beam scale they should buy, and I said don't buy a beam scale. Just get a Chargemaster 1500. It's a very good machine. There's my tray. All right, we're gonna zero it. And we're gonna go, we said 35.5. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's load the brass. Okay, I don't think I need to lube it. Okay, let's see what it does. I probably need to lube the next, as a matter of fact. I forgot that I'm necking this thing down. Just little dye wax. All right, here we go. Of course, I'm using the Dillon 750. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you guys can. All right, there's one. Oh, my primers. Oop, already. All right, here we go. There's one. Put some lube on the next neck. Burn it up. So, as soon as my ram is up, that's when I throw powder. Okay, and I throw powder on that side. I modified my expander mandrel so that I can expand after throwing powder. I just made it shorter. Okay, we got powder, and I also have a clear funnel so that I can see if powder didn't go, and I can tell powder didn't go down. Now I see that it's all in there. Down we go. Seat the next primer. Up we go. All right, and here we go again. Drop powder. Another thing I'm gonna do before I seat the bullet is I'm gonna have to dump the powder from the first one and verify that it does chamber in my rifle. Remember, I'm necking it down, so it's got a bushing, and if it floats too high up, it ain't gonna chamber because it doesn't size the entire neck. You should not have this problem if you're just using a 6.5x47 Lapua or something that the brass is made for. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, drop powder. Okay, I'm gonna verify that this thing does chamber. See how it doesn't size the entire neck? Can you guys see that? Dang it, Bobby. Anyway, see, the entire neck is not sized. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dump this powder back in here. I'm gonna go over to my rifle, which is behind me. And it does chamber, okay? So it actually, the shoulder is touching this false shoulder, so it's actually good. It's gonna fire form nice and snug in there. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw this powder in here. Wrong funnel. Here we go. You guys see that? Nope, you can't. So anyway, I'm dropping powder in the case. Always tap it. I always tap it just to make sure that nothing gets stuck in the funnel, and then when you pull the funnel up, powder falls everywhere. I hate that. Put it back in here, and we are gonna put a 109 right here. I'm gonna top it off with a 109. Up we go. Dump powder on the next one. All right. There's that. The minute I dump the powder, I lower the ram. Otherwise, I'll forget and I'll double charge it, which I hate. All right, so this one that we just did, I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna measure it. Make sure we are good. Okay. Where is it? Okay. Where are we at? Sure enough, 2.140. Okay, 2.140. Here's what I'm gonna do, as a matter of fact. I wanna back this off 10 thousandths. Okay? The reason for that is this press is not very accurate, because that plate has some flex. There's some mods that you can do to this press, and I haven't done any of them. So I'm gonna back it off 10 thousandths, and then when I'm done with all of them, I'll go back. I set the die to the final length that I want, and then I'll just use station number 1, and then I just run it up and down, and I'll just reseat them all, okay, without letting the plate rotate. And anyway, that gives me very good and consistent results. Okay, there's the second one. Put the tray over here, drop the powder. All right, this one's stuck in here again. All right. There's one. Okay, so I'm gonna do this 100 more times. Dang it, I forgot to load brass. See, I'm talking to you guys. All right, now that I know it's working, I'm gonna load it up. I do not have a brass feeder. I don't know that I want one. It's you know, I like to be able to remove the plate and just rock and roll with a different cartridge. And I don't shoot many. This is one thing you're gonna learn from me, and something that you guys need to think about. The more cartridges that you load for, the more of a nightmare it becomes, right? Because after everything I'm gonna teach you, all the things that you need to do to get your cartridge running properly, you're not gonna wanna have too many, okay? So I have my 6x47 for PRS and a 6BR for PRS. That's it, okay? I also have a 6.5 Crete that I built because my nephew was getting into PRS, and that way he could shoot some factory ammunition, okay? But anyway, the two that I load for is my 6x47, my 6BR, okay? And of course for F-class I have a 284 Shihane. Lately, I've been playing with a 284 Wheeler, and we can talk about all that some other time, okay? But they're very similar. So the point is, I'm probably gonna end up with last year I was just doing a 284 Shihane and 6x47 Lapua. This year I decided to play with the BR and the Wheeler, but again, they're very similar, but I just don't know. You'll find that you don't want to be loading for too many. Hang on, I forgot. All right, I haven't put powder in there. So I keep this flashlight here for that purpose, Sometimes I forget, so before I lower the ram, I can check in there, see if we have powder. Okay, I'm gonna load like 95 more of these, and I'll be back. All right, last 2. All right, so now I got them all loaded. Okay. Now I'm gonna cycle all the way to number 1. I actually have Sharpie. It's not number 1. It's the one next to it, but I have Sharpie all around it. As I said earlier, I'm seating these long. 2154, 2.154, 44. Well, I'm gonna try that right there. We're looking for 2.140. So all you have to do is go up, take it out, and then leave it up, and it's not gonna rotate on you. All right, double check. 47. I gotta go another 7 thousandths down. That's 5, 7. This is the Forster seater. I typically use Redding, but this is the first Forster I've tried, and I don't know. I think I like Redding better, but I'm giving it a try. All right, 40. I don't know if you guys can see that. All right, so this one's right on the money. I'm gonna put it in my ammo box. Okay, so this is where I keep my ammo, and this is a piece of foam that I put on the lid so they don't rattle around. So there's one. Okay. There's another one. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do them all. Same way. I'm gonna spot check a few. Okay. This one's about 1,000 longer, but I'm not gonna worry about it right now. I'm getting about a 1,000th variance, which is very good. Like I said, this die is brand new. I haven't honed it or anything, and that's some of the things I want to show you guys. But I mean, it's doing pretty good. I think that one's right on the money. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and seat all these to their final, and see, now I can just hold the handle and go to town. F-Class John, I've already told you guys to go check out his stuff. He did quite a few mods to his 750, and he claims it makes it better. So I'm gonna try some of those on mine, see how well it works. Anyway, so far this is the way that I found that makes it very consistent, just like I'm doing right now. If I try to seat them as I'm loading ammo, they're not very consistent. I get about 5 thousandths variation in my seating depth, which is not very good, especially when you're trying to do testing in 1,000th steps. So I'm looking for about 1,000th seating depth variation or less. So yeah, seating depth is very important. If you think about it, it takes a lot of powder to get a vertical spread of about 12 inches at 1,000 yards. And I don't know how many of you guys have shot 1,000 yards, but it takes a lot of powder to do that. But if you adjust your seating depth, or you have the wrong seating depth, it takes 2 to 3 thousandths to make it do that if you're at the wrong place in your node. So seating depth is extremely important. All right, There's that. All right, I'm gonna seat all these to their final seating depth, and I'll be right back. That's 100, and got an extra one. Threw an extra one in there for me. This actually happens quite a bit. I don't know if it happens to you guys, but happens very often. So there's my 101 rounds loaded up with 35.5 grains of N150. Like I said, I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna go to the range, and because it is my PRS rifle, I'm gonna practice positional. First, I'm gonna get down prone at 100 yards, sighted in really well. As I said before, I have a tuner, so I'm just gonna take the tuner and adjust my groups, kind of make them tight as I can get them. I'm not gonna spend too much time making these rounds shoot really well. They should do pretty well. I mean, typically they're gonna shoot, I don't know, 3/4 MOA or half MOA. They're gonna do pretty well, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just not gonna worry about it too much. I'm gonna get a 100-yard zero, maybe spend about 10 rounds or so doing that, and I'm gonna move to about 300 or 400 yards and start shooting positional stuff. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do with these 100 rounds. It's a waste of barrel life and a waste of resources to try to shoot groups at 100 yards with this stuff. We're not at that point right now. The barrel's not at that point, the brass is not at that point, and we're not at that point. Okay, so spend your ammo wisely. Okay, work on, like I said, I'm gonna work on my positional. Okay, after I get these fired, and I'm gonna shoot them over a chronograph. While I'm doing positional, I have a lab radar. I tend to set it up, and I kind of take a peek at the speeds. I gather data. Don't get me wrong, right? But at the same time, I'm gonna be practicing. Okay, so I'm gonna get these rounds fired, and once I do that, we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna show you something a bit different that I'm gonna do, because that's at the point where we're gonna trim the brass and chamfer it. At that point, we're gonna do all that. We're also going to anneal it. I anneal every time. Every time. I do the same thing every time. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this one short here because I know this video is getting quite a bit long, but this is what I do with brand new brass. Okay, if you're using different types of brass, I would still not spend a lot of time prepping that brass. What I would do, maybe take 20 pieces of brass and do as much brass prep as you want to do. Okay, and then kind of set those off to the side and maybe use those to work up a load. Okay, maybe just go and fire those, and work up a load, and see how good a groups you can get with those. Okay, after you do that, take some of your worst brass that you have in those 100 or however many you have, and shoot them against each other. See if they really make a difference. If they do, then great. Keep doing what you're doing. For me, I have tested Lapua brass. It makes absolutely no difference if I weight sort it, if I volume sort, if I, uniform the primer pockets, if I ream the flash holes, all that stuff. I've done it, okay? And I've spent so much time in the reloading room doing all that stuff. Guess what? For me, and I'm not talking about PRS rifle, I'm talking about F-class rifle. I've tested all this stuff in my F-class rifle. Absolutely no difference, okay? That 5-shot group that you guys saw me shoot, that stuff was shot with, or that group was shot with brass that was neck turned and nothing else. And the only reason I neck turn is because my reamer is a tight neck, okay? I have to neck turn, but we have also tested rifles with no turn chambers, F-class rifles. They shoot incredible. So again, those are things that I'm going to test down the road, and I'm going to show you guys. We're getting close to the goal of where I'm going to get a railgun. So once we have a railgun, we're going to be able to test all these things for sure, right? eliminate the shooter, set up the railgun, get it shooting really well, and then we're going to be able to test all these different theories, right? You know, weight sorting brass, volume sorting brass, pointing bullets, trimming bullets, weighing primers, all those things we're going to be able to test. So I'm kind of excited about that. Anyway, again, this video is getting long, but this is how I start my reloading process, okay? Thank you so much for you guys that support me on Patreon. This is all because of you guys. It is late right now. It is 10 p.m. and I'm doing this. It's during the week, by the way. So I worked late today and I got to get up really early tomorrow, but I'm doing this because of you guys. Thank you for your support, and I will see you next time. I hope all your groups are one whole. This is going to get exciting. Trust me, it's going to get exciting. Thank you. Thank you so much.